that we one day may open our eyes and be fully aware of your presence. Que así sea. All right, so be it. So today, I will introduce you my good friend Admir Serrano, and who's going to talk to us today. Welcome.
All right. Thanks. Good morning, everybody. As usual, it's a pleasure to be here, especially in this Sunday, the last Sunday of 2014. And another year went by. And for us, with a little bit more of white hair or canas and pain in the back, pain in the knees, we know how fast all those years went by. So the theme today that we're going to discuss, and a topic that I have spoken about here in this center and also in other centers. And I was called to replace today's speaker, Jose Augusto, who couldn't come. And it's always good to be here. And we're going to talk about something that's very important, family, right? And the opportunities that a family gives us to reconcile with each other. And I also would like to mention, and as we talk, also throw some things about what we have done in 2014 to improve ourselves, to better ourselves. Family, obviously, and we live in it daily, and we are daily in contact with their blood relatives, but maybe spirits that we have not always been loving towards in past times. So the family, or these are reuniting with them once again here on earth, who gives us this opportunity. And obviously the challenges of a family on a daily basis also, if we do it well and if we do it correctly, are also steps that we're taking towards becoming better, towards evolving spiritually, morally, and so forth. So we're going to start talking about what reincarnation and briefly, and as it relates to our family members and reunification. So what is reincarnation of family, right? And we get this from the gospel and also from spirits, wise spirits such as Emmanuel and so forth, and a lot obviously in the spirit's book. So what is a family then, right? Or reincarnation? Reincarnation is a rendezvous. It's a meeting again of the spirits in the material world with one objective. What is the objective? To help each other mutually so that we all evolve. So this is the main object. And spirits, so I put some spirits there. It's not exactly that kind of spirits, right, coming out of the tombs, but we are always spirits, and we're spirit here, and we've always been a spirit, not always self-conscious, but now we are self-conscious. So I always like to mention, because it's always good to remind that we are spirits. That's our primary nature, and we are having this human or physical experience temporarily, longer for some, shorter for others, but always spirits and always immortal. When we talk about eternal life, we say eternal life, you die physically and then you become immortal. No, we are immortal now. What's happening is that we are experiencing a different type of life, a more gross kind of life, which is the physical life. But we are spirits and we are immortal now. We don't have to die to become immortal. We are now. So what happens when we die is that we then live a different type of body, or we experience life in a subtle type of body. Not it's still materially or semi-materially, which we call it perispirit, but it is still a body. It still has a form. It has head, eyes, nose, arms, limbs, and all that. But it's us, and it is the immortal us then, as we are immortal now. So don't worry about it, like that. Life never ends. It's just change the way we experience life at that moment. Sometimes in the body, physical body, sometimes out of the physical body. So the spirit, which is us, and we have this from the gospel, that in space, or in space, it means not in the physical world, not in the physical world, in the non-physical world, when we are disincarnated, that we form groups or families. And we are together, these groups, these people, that we are together by the similarities of the inclinations. So we are alike. We have tastes that I like. We have the same sort of level of development. We have things in common. So we get together with them, and we are living that life prior to come to the physical world. In that life that we're living there, we are also evolving. Not always. It depends of us always. Are we evolving here? It's the same thing. It depends on our interest in becoming better. Opportunities to evolve is plenty. Everywhere, every day, anytime. It depends on us, on each one of us, to use those experiences and evolve. Same thing when we are out of the physical body. Actually, these experiences, this learning that occurs out of the physical world, we don't have to be physically dead to experience it. We also experience it almost every night as the physical body sleeps, and we get out of the body temporarily. For those who remember your dreams, what we call dreams, for those who are aware of those experiences, know what I'm talking about. We are already living. We live the spiritual life, the life that many of us fear, which is the afterlife. We experience it mostly every night. So it's no mystery. So whoever is afraid of dying, don't be. We know how it is. We've been there more times than we can count. And it will be a piece of cake if we are aware, if we're lucid. So we have these people that they're people, spirits, we're people, always people, that we are gathered then, the groups that we form prior to come to the physical life. And we are together there also because we want to be, we feel good to be around them. We have things that we can help each other. We have things also that we need to fix in our relationships with each other. And then when we decide to come back to physical life, to continue our progress, our evolution, we may choose together with those same spirits to come and be part of the same family with the same objective as we read it in the gospel. They often come together, us spirits, in an incarnation as part of the same family or the same group of family, working together on our progress. So us being here today together, we are in a group. Most likely we knew, we at least, if not everybody, we knew each other in the past lives, and we are here together with this purpose: to improve, to get better. And this is the reason why in this last Sunday of 2014, which we could have been out there, it's a beautiful day, glorious day, we are here. So gathered together to help improve ourselves. And it is very good because it's a sign that we're using this time of the year or the entire year, because we've been here, most of us, every Sunday of 2014. So we used this time positively, working for our progress, and we're not going to regret it. Now, I mentioned that a consequence of our individual progress is the progress of the place where we happen to be living. And I say that the place because the earth, any part of the earth, this room when there's nobody here, our house when there's nobody there, there's no activity. It's something that it doesn't do anything. A place doesn't do anything. Obviously, the earth is a living being, but it's neutral. It's neutral, right? The peacefulness of the society we live in, or the violence of the progress, technological progress of that place that we happen to live in. It's us. It's us doing it. So as we progress, also the place that we happen to be living progresses. And I mentioned other times comparing some geographical regions, for instance, and maybe some of you heard me saying that, oh, those who have not heard will, and those who have heard will hear again. So Scandinavia, for instance, and I say that because it's something that we can picture clearly in our lives. Scandinavia 1,000 years ago was, or even before that, Vikings lived there, right? And Vikings were ruthless people. And the place, Scandinavia, was just a piece of land that happened to be inhabited by ruthless people, which was the Nordic people or the Vikings. Today, Scandinavia is one of the most developed region in the world. Equality, equality between men and women, sexual equality, economic equality. There's a lot of one of the most peaceful, the highest educated people, 99% of literacy rate, low inflation, economic development, all of that is there where Vikings lived. So who improved that land? People who, the Vikings, who end up reincarnating and improving and get better. So as they improved morally, as they improved intellectually, and went back to live to that place, then that place got better. Progressed, not the place, the people. So what they did was they just injected whatever was the result of their development. And we see that in Europe, for instance, other parts of Europe. Scandinavia is also part of Europe. After World War II, a lot of destruction, right? Physical destruction, human destruction. 60 million people died or more, destroyed. And 60 million people leaving Earth in 4 years, it's a lot of people. It's a lot of soul recycling. So there's a lot of things that were readjusted in the non-physical world prior to their returning. As they reincarnated, also improved and saw their mistakes, we see also Europe today a peaceful place. And I doubt that there's going to be a war like that because we have improved. And in our society, if we think about the place we grew up on, right, we see a betterment. We are going to even see improvement in Cuba now with the reestablishment of economic ties with the United States. So there's a lot of improvement. So society is improving. There's a lot of places that need help, but we see this improvement as a result of our progress, human progress. So we do that, and we do that in our families as well. And I remember my family. Christmas, we used to like our gift was something very simple because my parents were very poor. We were very poor. I don't know. To me, I wasn't poor because I lived on a farm and I loved it. So, and I had all that immensity of openness and green and stuff. I didn't know what poverty was. I was eating. I had food and no shoes, but that was fun to be walk around barefoot. So, but it was tough for my parents, and obviously to me too, because we didn't have much material things. So I made, when I wanted a toy, I made it. When I wanted a truck, I made it out of a oil can that I made it myself. So there was improvement. Now, my daughters, my life then wasn't as tough as my parents, because I had the opportunity to go to school and do something, plus my interest in improving myself economically, intellectually, etc. So my life was much easier than my father's because of my development. My intellectual development was morally the same, because my dad, they were highly moral and ethical, so no problem with that. But intellectually, I improved more than they did. So I got my family, if I compare, had progressed. So it's better. My life was easier than their lives, than my mom's life. And my daughters, obviously, their lives is much easier than mine. Too easy, as a matter of fact. My mistake. So we see improvements everywhere of places, technology. We have kids today, 15, 16 years old, making millions of dollars, writing apps for smartphones, and that is a sign of development. Now, this universal family. So we have this nuclear family, which is us, people who, we call father, mother, daughter, that's us. And we also have then the bigger part, right? Not only us, but the people who we happen to be part of. And each family forms then the body of this universal family, which is everybody. And here in Kardec had a question, because reincarnation, if we believe in reincarnation, and then today, this life, I'm here, I'm the son of Ana Serrano and Augusto Serrano, my parents. And then the next life I come and become the son of William Gates, when he was gonna come back, for instance, right? So it's very far, it's different. So what happened to the ties of love that I built with my parents, with my siblings? So that broke and gone. So Kardec asks these questions to the spirits, and then they said reincarnation expands our fraternal obligations. As your neighbor or servant may be a spirit who in the past has been your blood or kin. So it was part of our families. And when we researching kids who remember past lives, and the mostly work done by Ian Stevenson, University of Virginia, and they have about 3,000 cases of children who remembered past lives. And so they remembered who they were prior to this life here that they experienced. So they knew where they're born in the family. And mostly they were reincarnated in the same, if it's not in the same nuclear family, but within the family, either like the son of a cousin, for instance, in the past lives. Other times they reincarnated in a family, or in a family of friends in the past lives. Other times they reincarnated in the same, not in the same area, in the same village, with someone that maybe they weren't related. Sometimes in a village 20, 30,000 miles away. The longest that I saw in my research was this kid who had been reincarnated 400,000 miles from where he used to live, but I still remembered it. He was born in the country in one life. No, in one life he lived in Istanbul, and then reincarnated in another place like 400 miles away. And he remembered the life that he had in Istanbul in another family, a completely different family. So we don't travel too far when we reincarnate. And we also, obviously, as we know, we even if we I think this agreement that we made with, obviously, with help, we don't know exactly how it works over there, will make us find the place that the person that we need to be with, regardless. Defined way. Like an interesting way how I met Mari Lucia, for instance. Jesus, when I never dreamed in my life to go to Goiânia, where she lived. And then there was a series of events that started in Orlando. Something that has nothing to do with it. And then all of a sudden I'm sitting next to a man, next to a person in the group. I was a tour guide at that time. Next to this person, he's a doctor. And he has, he passed away recently, became my friend for many years. He had a big company in Goiânia. They made medical equipment, medical instruments. And then he asked me a question if I knew anybody who could help him contact FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, to register those products. 2 months before, I had a friend. We worked together in the same tour company. He's from Venezuela. And he grew, peanuts and cashew things and some other things that he grew in Venezuela. And he wanted to export to the United States. He said, how can we do that? So I started researching, and I found out that in order to do that, we'd have to get FDA approval. So I went to find out what this FDA was. So I started researching. I went to the office, so I knew it. So I found out what FDA was, how you register a product, everything. And then 2 months later, I'm sitting by this man who said, do you know anybody who? I said, yeah, I do. Me. And he said, when are you going back to Brazil? I said, next month. It was January. I was going to go back in February, next month. So when you get to Sao Paulo, you call me, and I'll send you a plane ticket, and you go to Goiânia, and we will put you up there. And then, okay. So I did that, and I went to Goiânia and said, you're going to stay then with this guy, Krikor. He passed away. Krikor was the tour director of this group, and he was traveling with them. He made this package. And Mari Lucia was Krikor's secretary. So I went to his house and said, come to my, before we went to meet with the pharmaceutical company, said, come to my office. So I went to his office and met Mari Lucia there. Just like that. Just like that. Nothing, was just that this, as she was very young and pretty as usual, but nothing happened. It's just something that, we, doctor and stuff, got her address, and that our thing started like a year later, also out of nowhere. So all of a sudden you have all this chain of events that you cannot, you don't understand why that happened. And that's how your life is changed. And the person, you go, you find, it doesn't matter. Maybe if it's in the cave, you end up in that cave, finding that person, your soulmate or whatever, but someone who is going to improve to get better, and working together, as me and Mari Lucia have done for over 20 years. And certainly she was part of my our relationship, if not me directly, or my daughters or whatever, and we had to be together in this life again so that we could progress. And we have had a lot of progress, I can tell you that. So that's those things. So it's the universal family. So it's everywhere. So and we have this information from people, for instance, who have near death experience, and others also mediums and stuff, that once they understand, once they live physical life, and consciousness expands a little bit, we can see things that we couldn't see here, that they have this feeling of this universality, of being part of everything, not only being part and related to each other, but also to all things that are earth and stuff. And when we talk about where we come from, that we all from the same father, from God, so that makes perfect sense that we are all brothers, right? It's the same energy, we're part of the same energy. And there is intelligence in this energy, and intelligence that we inherited, that it is within us. So there is a part in us that understands and see that we are all part of the same family, that we are all together somehow. Now it's difficult to understand because we're most of the time trying to working to make survive physically, basically. But there's going to be a time that our priorities will change and we'll understand things better. And we have this information of Andre Luis, that in the eyes of divine providence, we are all interconnected. He's saying that, and he's saying this from that other perspective, from being in the physical, in the spirit world, and communicating through Chico Xavier, things that now he could understand, that he didn't understand before, because of this expansion of consciousness, this ability of seeing things that now we cannot see or we cannot understand. So he could see it from a different level, from a higher level, and also not only things that he observed, but also teachings that he received from other superior beings, and then he passes on this message to us. So we are all interconnected, and we have a duty, and the duty is of helping each other out. Evolution is our slow return back, our return back to God. Those who love more lead the way, tracing the path to their brothers. So I put a North Star there, because North Star was a star in many it is still, that helped especially seamen to find their way home. You follow the North Star, you follow the guiding light. And we also have in our lives guiding lights in the form of people, in wherever that this person is. Sometimes a person who you never seen, or you see once in your life, and that person says something or tells you something that changes your life, because somehow it clicks. Somehow, and that person maybe was put in there with you, sitting by your side in a bus or in a train or in a church, and that person is going to guide you. And we have in humanity many of those guiding lights. We can see it everywhere. Obviously, the brightest guiding light of humanity is Christ and his teachings. And we have other smaller ones, other guiding lights, Martin Luther King, and also Selma. There's going to be a film out soon, Selma, when they started the movement, the civil rights movement. We have even Abraham Lincoln, though his, to free the slaves, bloody as it was, he was also that person that came to unite a nation that had to be united, had to be like it was today. So, and we can become guiding lights in case our families, a parent, for instance, a father or a mother, they have to be, because they have more experience. They lived longer. They have more knowledge. So they are the guiding light to their children or to their relatives or whatever, to their nieces, nephews, someone that we can touch from our experience. So it's one objective or one goal that we should all have, be able to guide these people who are lost. And today, most of our teenagers are sort of lost. And then we try and say it, and sometimes you do your best. You do your best guiding. But we need to understand that we're also talking to or working together with spirits who also have their evolution. And sometimes what you think it's good for them, they don't see it that way, and they keep making mistakes. So there is a saying in America that I love it, like the cowboy, right? Cowboy and his horse. The only thing that he can do for his horse to drink water is to bring it to the edge of the river. But he cannot make it drink water if it doesn't want to. You can't, because the thing is too big, and if they don't want to drink water, it won't drink water. So at least what we do, we bring our little horses there to the edge of the water and say, see, this is water, you're thirsty, if you drink, you'll get better. Now you choose water if you want to drink or not. So that's what all we can do. Right? We bring it to the water, and then now it's up to you. I did my part in trying to leave with a clear consciousness. Sometimes doesn't work because you think that you failed, that you should have stuck their head in there and made a drink, but then you might drown the person. So that's even worse. Now, family. Family is a center of learning in practice of fundamental elements necessary for evolution, right? Love, forgiveness, kindness, understanding, acceptance, patience. And I found Garfield. Garfield, I love Garfield. I can, but I won't. Yeah, I can. It's all. I can, but I won't. So that's it's all there. It's all there, and these are opportunities that we have to love, to forgive. There in the nuclear family story, parents to their children, you're forced, right? You're forced, like a mother who gets pregnant, and then the baby is born. It's there. Baby can survive by himself or herself. So the parents need to be there, do everything. So it's a forced relationship that's will, at least it should be, right, instigate the practice of love, or at least patience, right? And also forgiveness, kindness. We have in our house, in our family, that laboratory for us to practice these things that we should. Not always works that way, because we need to remember that the spirits within our family, obviously, they're also in different stages of development. Some, are even superior to us. Our children may be developing as a soul, as a spirit, older, wiser. So they're different. So we need to understand that. Patience. And we know how important that is, especially when you're married. Patience can save a marriage, right? And you just grin and bear, but this, like Chico Xavier, this shall pass away too. And it passes. Family is also a center for material, emotional, moral, intellectual support that makes our experience in physical life easier. So, and also help us to fulfill the work that we are here to fulfill. So we have that center. We go where we find peace. If we have a little cozy space in our house, or a room and stuff, so that you can go, you can rest, you can re-energize, you can put things in perspective. Then that you have food on the table, that you have the support of your either siblings or your parents or whatever. So it's a place that you come to recharge. And we should be there. It's like the Simpsons, you see. It's very peaceful family too. See, the parent. That's me there. The partner here. Those are always like that, and I receive a lot of criticism for that. They do everything they want because it's easy to say. You say yes. You said, yeah, I say yes because I can't take and bugging me like that. So can you give yes, yes, yes? And then in 10 seconds, I resolve an issue. I say yes. If I say no, it's complicated. So yes, and then I probably have to deal with that later on when I need to talk about what I did here, right? You said too many yeses. I said, well, next time I'll say more no's. So also family, a group of spirits alike who decide to reincarnate as part of the same family with the objective of strengthening the ties of love or to break the ties of past hatred. And I put some exceptions. Not all spirits in a family are alike, as we all know. So some are not alike. Some are different. And they came because somehow they thought that being born in that family, being raised in that family could do something to improve them. Always the same objective, to help improve. And we have this question that Kardec, a lot of wise questions that he put onto those spirits. Why good and virtuous parents may sometimes have children of an evil nature? And the simple question, a simple answer, an evil spirit or a spirit that's not well developed, but they translate as evil because they say a bad spirit, may request good parents in the hopes that their good advice may guide them to a better path. And God normally allows it. So there's an objective, and it makes easier for us, being the spirit, is if we have such a person in that family, it makes makes it easier for us to understand why that spirit in that case is like that. And obviously it gives us a different perspective, the way we look at it. So why is this person here with me? Because that person trusted you prior to coming and believed that you could help her make her or him become better, progress. So, and that makes us even more responsible. I think it increases our duty and our understanding. And also I think it's honorable to have someone to trust you as their parents when they come here. So there's this kid who remembered a past life, and his parents asked him, why did they said that we reincarnate and we choose our parents? And the mother asked, why did you choose us? And he said, because I knew that you would be good to me. That's it. I knew you'd be good to me. So when I told Anna that the date she was in the hospital having her baby, she cried. So it gives us a big responsibility. They knew, they trusted us blindly, because they come without being able to do anything, a baby, totally dependent on you for many years. And they trust you blindly and know that you will be good to me. So the least that we can do is to maybe guide in the right path so that our duty is done. At the end, the reconciliation. So the theme is family opportunities for reconciliation. And I got this from my experiences working with the terminally ill and also my studies, because we need to study in order to be part of that. So at the end, and this is from my experience, from observing, from talking to people, and also from what the literature in the end of life care has. So this, at the end, the reconciliation is fundamental for a peaceful passing. Not death, because that one the body dies. But that when there's no reconciliation prior to dying or prior to leaving this life, the spirit is restless, because there's things that the spirit somehow knew that should have been done, didn't do it for whatever reason. But then when they are at that point of transition, especially when the death, when the process of dying has been long, or illness has been long, the person is there in the deathbed for several months. So that person as a spirit had more time to think, reevaluate their lives. And when I talked to them many times, what, they knew that they were about to die. And if I asked them, what do you think of your life? What you would you change? Most said would change. Many said, forgive. My grandfather was one of them. That he said, I regret a lot of things that I did, and asked forgiveness to me, to also children that he had hurt. So there's a point in our lives that this reconciliation will be necessary so that we can make a peaceful transition, so that we don't bring this burden with us on the other side of life. So we're burdened enough here. So why bring more? So do finish all the business that we need to finish here. So our load is gonna be much lighter once we leave the physical body here, which is already sick and pain and all that. So we go in peace. But how do we go in peace? We go in peace when we forgave everybody who we hurt, that hurt us, that needed that. So you say it. Sometimes the person doesn't even remember that hurt, but say it. Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. So it's good to forgive. You hurt. There are cases, many cases, the person is dying. All that needs to be done is for the heart to stop beating, and for the last breath. And this last breath, and the heart doesn't stop beating until that person asks forgiveness to someone, or forgive someone. But most ask for someone you hurt, someone you need to ask for forgiveness of that person, but you cannot. And then once the arrangements are made, so that that person who is dying then asks forgiveness to this person, mostly relatives, either a spouse or children, all because that's when we're together a lot of time, people that were together for long. And then when everything is done, reconciled, then there is peace in the transition. When there's not, there's restlessness in the transition. I saw, it's documented. And so now we know better, then we also resolve our things here so that we go in peace in that, what is that? In the good night? I forgot. In the last good night or something. Heartful thankfulness. Thank people for what they've done to you, people who helped you. This is also important. This 5, and I put 5, and there's a reason that 5, those are the 5 most common things that the dying person would do, and they call it the 5 tasks of dying. Heartfelt thankfulness, also other feelings of love, express love. Like I had an opportunity one day, and the man was about to die, and the wife was there in the room, and I was talking to her, and I said, well, this is your chance for you to say to him whatever you need to say, or ask forgiveness, all that. Said, your opportunity is now. Said, yeah. He said, I love him so much. I love him so much. Did you tell him? Does he know? No. I love him so much. He knows it. I said, did you tell him that you love him? He said, well, no, but he knows. But you never told. Did you tell him? And then she said no. And then she started crying. And then she said, when you leave, I'll tell him. And I don't know if she told or not, because it's been a while and I never went back. And saying goodbye. This is also important. Saying goodbye, or so long, right? Because we're going to be together. So those are the 5 tasks of dying that now we know that needs to be said and done. And since we are here, we are in our evolving process. We'll do this today, because maybe tomorrow will be too late. So do it now. And then Andre Luis, in Missionaries of Light, it says that every reconciliation is difficult when we are ignorant in the practice of love. We can't reconcile if we don't love. We haven't learned it. We don't know. But without human reconciliation, our integration with divine glory would never be possible. So, and we have now those in those tasks, the reconciliation, we see the truthfulness to this. So reconciliation, it's peace that you make with people who are part of your lives, or the spirits that been together with us for many, many, many ages, years, eons of time. So this is the time, and this is the year to do this year that we're ending, and obviously to continue if we have the time in the year that is coming. It always good for us. Everything that we do to evolve, everything that we do to be better than we were before, be it intellectually, morally, spiritually, or whatever, is good for us. It's beneficial for us. The only thing that we have is to gain. We don't lose anything. So, and the opportunity is there everywhere, every time, within the people, within our family, within the people that we come in contact with in our daily lives. So with this, then we will end our studies for today. And I thank you all very much for being here. And I'll say a final prayer. We're going to have passes, right? I'll say the final prayer, and then whoever wants to go to the passes, then just sit quietly, and someone will call you. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus Christ, our master, our model, the benefactors, spiritual benefactors of this center, our guardians, our angels, those who also are together with us, working to help us for our improvement from the other side of life, even if we don't know that you're around or we don't feel your presence. We must rest assured that you are with us, guiding us, because you're also part of our family, part of our evolutionary journey. And we thank you all, and always asking you to be with us, to guide us when we go astray from what the route that we should go, and always giving your peace and also strong arms when the load is too heavy and we feel that we won't be able to carry it. Be always with us, giving your peace, giving your light of love and your blessings. Thank you, and so be it.